Hello, everybody. How are ya? Leslie the Little Plazz here. Zazoo Plazz here for my weekly Sunday edition of the Zazoo Plazz Report. Brought to you this week, June 20th, 2021. I'm in my usual trail in the woods, but it was very buggy in there. So I found this lovely spot. There's a little bridge here. You can sort of see. It's a little bridge that goes into the woods. And as you can hear, there's water behind me. There's some ducks. And I thought it was a lovely spot for my Father's Day report this week. And I have, for show and tell, this fan. You'll find out why in a minute. So I know I'm limited on time here. If you'll notice, I have my, this is the shirt I wore in my author photo for Zazoo Plazz. And I've got my trusty black shorts on. I got my hiking boots. Big old Eagle Scout mom in the woods. Hope nobody comes by. I had to, I have to tell you, the fragrance is unbelievable from these flowers. I'm not sure what they are, honeysuckle or something. I should ask my son. He's the one who classified all these things and did his little signs in the woods. And, however, there is water. There had to be water this week. And it is oh so healing to hear that. And nature is healing. And I've come to the woods this week for some healing and to get a little separation and to get a little bit of a breather. And so I did do my readings today, and it is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there, the father figures. Oh, that was a George Michael song. Father figure. I love that song. That's the song of the day. And this fan, which my mom gave me a few years back, it's got roses on it. See, it's a Spanish fan. I did not get this in Spain, but somebody she knew went to Spain or something and brought it back. One of her good dear friends. So I thought it was fitting today. I reached into my bag of props and this came out. I thought, what better prop for Father's Day than a fan? First of all, it's cooling. And it's getting hot, so it cools us off. And of course, dads are our biggest fans, aren't they? They cheer us on. It's a sports analogy, which was fitting because my son graduated this week, Wednesday, a beautiful day at Dunkin' Donuts Park, Hartford. This whole class threw their caps up in the air after this year of trials and tribulations, of restrictions and cancellations. They threw their caps up in the air. They did it. And we did it. We parents, we did it. It has been a very bittersweet week for me and a lot of people. And as I usually do on Sunday, as my husband, he still goes to church. This is my church, but I did look at the Bible readings, and it was, the time that Jesus went out with his apostles to get away from everything. They went out in the boat. They're out in the boat, and he's taking a little rest in the boat, and all of a sudden this big storm comes up on the sea, and all the apostles are like, getting scared. Jesus is sleeping. They're like, wake him up. Lord, Lord, it's, the waves are coming over the boat. We're going to drown. We're going to sink. Ah. He said, ye have little faith. And then he spoke to the storm and he said, quiet down. And the storm quieted down and everything was fine. And he said, ye have little faith. Didn't you know that I was going to take care of you? I'm here all the time. You know, what are you making such a big racket about? So, that's kind of a theme for the week. And I thought, you know, of course, one of the other readings is about, you know, how the Lord, how God, Source, Spirit, created the sea with limits, right? Limits. That's Saturn. We just had a big Saturn-Uranus square this week. We're having a solstice, summer solstice. We had all kinds of stuff going on. Retrogrades, I call them. And, you know, all these things are like storms on the sea, right? They're passing. We were out yesterday and we had our son's graduation party. We went out for a while and the dog was in the house and she always gets so scared during thunderstorms. You know, we're like, she shakes. And they say, don't comfort the dog, you know, put a blanket over them, let them comfort themselves, because otherwise they'll think that there's something wrong. And the storms are natural as the calm. The dogs just feel it because they're lower to the ground, right? Dogs feel the vibrations. They're natural, the nature spirits. They react on a purely instinctive level. But we are not dogs. We are quite a bit above dogs. So we should know better. If the occasional storm comes up, we have to know that we're protected. Right? So, like my husband says, got a sticker on our whiteboard at home. It says, keep calm, I'm an IEEE member. Which means Institute of Electrical and Electronic Engineers, or something to that effect. So, yeah. He keeps calm under emergencies, and then I have my firefighter son there, who thrives in emergencies, really. And yesterday, we all got a taste of how each one of us in the family responds to emergencies, because we had one. Getting ready for the graduation party, we had 25 people coming over at 2 o'clock. I woke up with a start, 9:15 or 20 in the morning. The dog was on the bed. I woke up, I brought my arm down hard on the dog. She jumped a foot in the air and ran off. 10 minutes later, my dad called. Said my mom had passed away. 9:20 this morning. Yesterday morning, rather. June 19th, 2021. Juneteenth. So I'll let that sit for a minute. So this is my report honoring my mom on Father's Day. And I'm honoring her spirit, which is in my heart and always with me now. And I wanted to remind you, or bring to your attention, if you've been following Zazoo Plazz for a while, that Zazoo Plazz, I now realize, is really a tribute, is my process of paying tribute to my mom and her life. It's through my life and the lives of my children and my husband and everyone who knew her. It is, and especially my close relatives, my cousins, you know, and they've been calling and texting and all that, and they tell me, you know what? I read your book last year when it came out, but I've been picking it up and reading little bits, and it puts a smile on my face. And you know what? You got it. You got it right. We grew up together. We're swimming in the same soup, right? And my cousins are like, you know what? You get it. And now I'm free to pursue relationships, though I have stepped back. And they're like, you know, that's cool. You stepped back, you wrote this book, but you see us, you know, we see you and you see us, and it's good, you know. And if more people could do this kind of thing, that would be very good. So that's my mission, as it's been clarified to me recently, is to go out in the world and take my experiences and my little stories and share them with you in hopes that some little bit of it will resonate and it will entice you, encourage you to share your stories about your moms, your dads, your families, yourself, your trials, your tribulations, your love, your laughter, your life, you know. And as this is veering off into an infomercial, yeah, we're going into cancer. And I want to add that the date my mom passed away was particularly relevant, and she chose it, probably at a soul level. She and my dad would have been married June 27th this year, 62 years. And my dad, you know, I went over, he called me up, he says, 11 o'clock, he said, come down here. Well, you know, Mom's here. And I went and I said goodbye. And I said, thanks, Mom, and I love you. And you know what? Every time I make meat pies and salmon pies, I'll think of you. And I think she smiled at me, though it wasn't her lying there. It was just a shell, you know. It wasn't her, but she looked like she looked in pictures, like somebody took the picture when she was talking or eating, you know, like she had something to say, and she always had something to say. And she was a fighter and a warrior, and she fought to the end. She couldn't eat. She had a tube put in her stomach, and when she couldn't eat and she couldn't talk and she couldn't celebrate, you know, that she said that's it, you know, that's life. And if I can't do that, I don't know what I can do. But she knew it was time to go. And to me, she bequeathed her torch. Little Zazoo. At that moment, and my dad looked at me and he said, well, after my husband and the boys had come and paid their respects, they're standing there, and he says, can you write an obituary? He said, I can't even begin to do that right now. And I said, okay, Dad, I'll do it. And he said, but he said, you know, your mother did a lot of things before you were born, so we want to make sure we put those in. And so we will, and I will. And it will be my mother's obituary. will be like this stone that I found. Multifaceted, beautiful. And a beautiful to behold, sparkling in the sun. And so anyway, I want to say one more thing. In the book, I talk about how I got into playing the organ, and my mom had been taking lessons at the organ studio, and that I would see her sitting down at the spinet organ and painstakingly pounding out "So I Never Promised You a Rose Garden" by Lynn Anderson. It was an old song from the 60s, I don't know, some before my time. And I said that it looked like a lot of hard work because she played so as not to miss a single note. And I think in many ways that's how she lived her life. She wanted to do it perfectly so as not to miss a single note. And she never did. She never missed a single birthday, a single anniversary. She never let a single detail pass from our lives without making note of it. Often many years later, making note of it. Even for the new generation to enjoy her stories over and over. But that was the foundation of my Zazoo Plazz book. Her stories are now my stories. And as she found to her very dying day, she said, my mother's stories were not mine. My Mime also had trouble swallowing and eating at the end, and also decided that's not the way that she wanted to live her life. But my mother determined that she was not her mother. She was Pauline Loretta Bellinger Bilodeau. And that is how she lived her life, true to herself. In many ways, she was devoted, attached, some might say, to the role of wife and mother, daughter. And sometimes it must have felt stifling. You know, like being tied to that phone with the cord in the kitchen. But she freed herself from that. And within the confines of the home and family life, she found a way to express her brilliant managerial qualities, her fiery spirit for life, her zest for life, her determination that every cupcake have frosting evenly spaced with a jelly bean in the exact center. I couldn't hope to do things as well as she in so many areas of the domestic sphere, and even as she was my grammar corrector, editor. You know, I couldn't hope to do grammar as well as my mother. And she didn't type it in online. She knew it in her head. She knew everything that the nuns had taught her. And it was in there, and she had such knowledge. And she volunteered in everything she possibly could in my life. And I am so very grateful. So I think it's going to cut me off.